wanted to rename the state, said it was more an appropriate expression. Fresh twist in Telangana, Thappad Rao. Victim reveals that he was beaten by Bandi Sanjay's son as he misbehaved with the friend's sister. Ugly low in Karnataka politics after calling defectors prostitutes. Congress MLC attempts damage control and says he respects sex workers. BJP Mantri hits back with a pimp jibe. We've got breaking news coming in at the top of 5 Live. India today has accessed the first statement in court by actor Jacqueline Fernandez on the Sukesh Chandrashekhar in the entire Bollywood con scandal. Viewer, nobody else has a copy of Jacqueline's statement, and I'm going to break it down for you right here, first in exclusive as always on India Today. Jacqueline Fernandez has just told court, Sukesh Chandrashekhar misled me, has ruined my career and my livelihood. He used impersonation tactics and fictitious identities and intimidating conduct to mislead me. Huge, explosive claims by Jacqueline Fernandez, who's been embroiled over the last year in the infamous Bollywood con scandal that is said to be worth about 200 crore rupees, with Sukesh Chandrashekhar being the kingpin accused of hundreds of crores of extortion from India's rich. Remember, Nora Fatehi has been drawn in as a witness, but Jacqueline Fernandez has been listed as an accused. I want to go across straight to Munish Pandey for more on this big breaking story. Munish, decode for us, what Jacqueline has said. She's basically saying that she was conned into this whole thing, that she is a victim and definitely not part of the scam.
Well, Shiv, my colleague Srishti Ojha has got this report, and she's the first one to get the entire statement of not only Jacqueline Fernandez but Nora Fatehi. It's a sensational statement. Now, as far as Jacqueline Fernandez's statement is concerned, remember what is important in this statement is, for the first time, Jacqueline Fernandez has accepted that she was emotionally attached to Sukesh Chandrashekhar. Not only she has claimed that Sukesh Chandrashekhar is someone who has played with the emotions of her, but also misled her, ruined her career. This statement becomes very important, Shiv, because remember, this statement was recorded before a magistrate, which means that this will become an evidence, and now Delhi police will investigate this case in this particular line. Now, Jacqueline Fernandez earlier, before the enforcement directorate, had already said that Sukesh Chandrashekhar was a person who introduced himself as someone who is politically connected to a South politician family. He impersonated as someone else, but later when they got engaged in conversations, Sukesh was the one who was emotionally attached to Jacqueline Fernandez. Apart from that, Jacqueline has also said that Sukesh is the one who promised big houses, big cars, and he was someone who wanted Jacqueline Fernandez to spend the entire life with him. Now, this part that she played with my emotions, it is also an acceptance on the part of Jacqueline Fernandez that somehow, somewhere, she was involved with this con man, and this is why this statement becomes really important, Shiv, as far as this entire 215 crore extortion case is concerned, and as far as the biggest con man of this country is concerned, that is Sukesh Chandrashekhar.
Massive exclusive. India Today's Srishti Ojha and Munish Pandey decoding first access to this statement from Jacqueline Fernandez, in court right now. It's the first words we've heard from court by Jacqueline Fernandez, accessed exclusively by India Today's Srishti Ojha, who joins me live from the capital as well. Srishti, basically two things that Jacqueline... Okay, we'll get back to Srishti in just a moment. Munish, coming back to you, what is the status of Jacqueline Fernandez's case right now? She was listed as an accused. You had Nora Fatehi take a sort of sideways swipe at her as well. How much trouble is Jacqueline Fernandez in now? Because now she says, I have been scammed in this whole thing. My career is ruined.
Well, Shiv, this is what Jacqueline Fernandez has been claiming since last year, since the time the Enforcement Directorate called her to record a statement for the first time. Now, as far as Enforcement Directorate's case is concerned, Jacqueline Fernandez stands as accused in the case. That is the trouble part for Jacqueline Fernandez. But as far as Delhi police case is concerned, she is now a witness in the case because she has given her statement under Section 164 of CRPC, which means that now she will be witness in Delhi police case. That is a big relief for Jacqueline Fernandez. But as far as this entire charge sheet, remember this statement is also a part of charge sheet, Shiv, of Delhi police, which means that these are the charges which will be leveled against Sukesh Chandrashekhar and other accused in the case. But not only Jacqueline Fernandez, Noora Fatehi's statement is also very important. Now, Noora Fatehi in her statement has gone on to say that Sukesh Chandrashekhar was a person who wanted undue favors from her. And what undue favors? Everyone knows what Sukesh Chandrashekhar wanted from Noora Fatehi. Also, she has said that Sukesh Chandrashekhar is a person who wanted Noora Fatehi to become his girlfriend, and in exchange of becoming a girlfriend, he was promising big houses, luxury cars, and other things. So Noora Fatehi's statement is very clear. And why I'm saying this, Shiv, it is very clear because I'll give you one inside story which has not come out in public so far. When Noora Fatehi was called for the first time before the Enforcement Directorate in connection with this case, her first statement was, I have not met this person ever in my life. Then Sukesh Chandrashekhar was called in the very same room and both were made to sit face to face. When Noora Fatehi was sitting on the chair across the table, Sukesh Chandrashekhar walked in the room, but there was no reaction from Noora Fatehi. And the officer pointed out, this is the man who is Sukesh Chandrashekhar. And then Noora Fatehi started laughing that this is a man who wanted me to become his girlfriend. So Noora Fatehi so far has maintained that she is someone who has been telling the truth. And why I'm saying telling the truth? Because now this is from two agencies. To Delhi police, Noora Fatehi said that she had never met Sukesh Chandrashekhar till the time she was asked to present herself before the Enforcement Directorate, and this is what an ED officer told me in a private conversation. So Noora Fatehi's statement becomes very important at this juncture of the case. And as far as Jacqueline Fernandez is concerned, the biggest takeaway is that Jacqueline Fernandez was emotionally attached to this con man, and when she's saying that her career was ruined, it is only because after the ED case, after the Delhi police case, there were at least two big projects which were in the lap of Jacqueline Fernandez, but those projects were taken away by the producers. So it is a fact that Jacqueline Fernandez's career has taken a setback after this case.
Okay, so it has impacted her career. It has impacted her income, but by no stretch of imagination has Jacqueline Fernandez's career been ruined because she still has projects that are coming out. But Srishti Ojha joins me. She's the journalist who scooped what Jacqueline Fernandez has said. But quickly want to recap this huge news break by Srishti Ojha from our legal team. And this is Jackie Fernandez's statement. We've accessed after Jackie. Now we've also accessed Noora. This is part 2 of our big breaking this evening, viewer. After Jackie's statement, which you've just heard, we've also accessed Noora Fatehi's statement in court. Sensational details coming out, and you're hearing them first here on India Today. This document that Srishti Ojha has just accessed. Noora Fatehi has said in court, Sukesh sought undue favors from her through Pinky Irani. Noora says Sukesh promised big house and luxurious house if Noora promised to be his girlfriend. Now, Pinky told Nora's cousin that Jacqueline is waiting in line for this, but Sukesh wants Noora. Many actresses dying to be taken care of by Sukesh Chandrashekhar. So a very ugly sort of, masquerade involving Bollywood stars that Sukesh Chandrashekhar was clearly orchestrating. Srishti Ojha is with me. Srishti, break it down for us. You're the reporter who scooped these documents, these statements that have been made in court. Take us through them in detail and explain them to our viewers, Srishti.
Yes, Shiv, definitely. It's an India Today exclusive. We now have we've access statements that have been given by Jacqueline and more in the Sukesh Chandrashekhar case. Now, what's in
Go ahead, Srishti, we can hear you.
Not just that, he misled her, has ruined her career and her livelihood. As far as Pinky Irani is concerned, along with Sukesh, she said that Sukesh Chandrashekhar and Pinky Irani always had an intention to cheat her. She was fooled by them. And at the time when she got to know about criminal background of Sukesh Chandrashekhar, that is when she got to know that his real name was Sukesh. And even though Pinky Irani, who introduced her to Sukesh Chandrashekhar, even though she was aware of the activity and background of Sukesh, she never disclosed that to her. In fact, when Jacqueline Fernandez tried to disassociate herself from Pinky and Sukesh, Pinky Irani continued to persuade her that she was making a wrong decision. She should not believe the media reports because they were just writing these reports for him because of some political rivalry, as he belongs to a big political influential family. Jacqueline has also said that both of them have used impersonation tactics and fictitious identities and also intimidating conduct to mislead her. Now, coming to Pinky Irani, who's an accused in the case, Jacqueline has said that she was an active associate of Sukesh Chandrashekhar and Sukesh traps people through her. Sukesh has played with her emotions and has made her life living hell. As far as Sukesh's criminal antecedents is concerned, Jacqueline has maintained that she was not aware of his criminal antecedents. She was not even aware that he was calling her through from Tihar jail because he used to talk to her, speak to her on video call only from one particular location, was always dressed in branded clothes. It was she was not aware that he's in fact in jail. What she's also said that after Pinky Irani, she was initially doubtful.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, shaky connection there with Srishti. I apologize for that. She's right outside court, so we'll get back to Srishti in just a moment. But I once again want to recap the statements that have just been made by both these actors. I'm going to start with the latest piece of breaking news. This is Nora Fatehi and her statement in court. Big details. Let me just detail those for you. Sukesh sought undue favors from Nora through a person called Pinky Irani. Sukesh promised a big house and a luxurious residence if she promised. That is, Nora promised to be his girlfriend. Pinky also told Nora's cousin that Jacqueline is waiting in line for this whole girlfriend business, but Sukesh wants Nora. Many actresses are dying to be taken care of by Sukesh, is what Nora has said in her statement in front of the court. Parallelly, we've accessed that statement from Jacqueline Fernandez, where she says that she has been a victim in this entire scandal and that her career and livelihood have been ruined through this association, and that Sukesh Chandrashekhar played with her emotions. Remember, Sukesh is accused to have given her lavish gifts to her and her family. Sukesh made my life hell, is what Jacqueline Fernandez has also said. Impersonation and fake identities were used by Sukesh, and that is what misled me, says Jacqueline Fernandez. I was intimidated and I was misled. So Jacqueline Fernandez making a very, very strenuous effort to suggest that she is far from being an accused and part of a charge sheet in this entire case. She is actually one of Sukesh Chandrashekar's victims. Srishti, you're back with us. Before I go to Srishti, we'll try and stabilize that connection. Munish, what kind of a position is Jacqueline Fernandez in right now to... Okay, we're going to come back to our reporters in just a bit. We're getting another big breaking coming in. Huge breaking coming in. We'll go back to our reporters in just a moment. Shubman Gill has hit a double ton against New Zealand in Hyderabad. This makes Shubman the fourth Indian cricketer to achieve this historic feat. Shubman Gill against New Zealand has just hit a double ton, becoming just the fourth Indian to achieve this incredible feat. We're going to have our reporters live with us in just a moment on this big breaking story. This is in the match that has just taken place in Hyderabad. Shubman Gill has just hit a double ton against New Zealand. Fourth Indian to achieve this historic feat. The only three other Indians who've ever achieved this feat are Virat Kohli, Virendra Sehwag and Sachin Tendulkar. The only three Indians. Now Shubman Gill becomes the fourth Indian to script history by hitting a double ton in the match against New Zealand in Hyderabad at this point of time. Images just coming in of Shubman celebrating that double ton. He becomes the fourth Indian to achieve this. Let's go straight across to India Today's Nikhil Nas for more on this. Nikhil, Shubman Gill's double ton becoming the fourth Indian to do so.
Shiv, I mean, I know I'll pardon you for saying the fourth Indian. That's because, he's actually become the fifth. I'll tell you why. And I made the similar mistake. That's because we just had another double hundred about a month ago, and that was Ishan Kishan. So he's effectively become the fifth Indian. No, I don't blame you. In fact, all of us here discussing on the sports desk also first thought that would be the fourth, because we all remember Rohit Sharma, getting it. He's on top of the pile. Then you remember the first man to do so was Sachin Tendulkar. Virendra Sehwag did it in style. So you tend to remember these three superstars. But we had, Ishan Kishan do it a month ago. And now you've got another youngster in Shubman Gill do that. So if you take a look at the list now, 9 players have done it in all, as far as 200 in an ODI is concerned, and imagine you've got 5 of them happen to be Indians. In fact, it's happened on multiple occasions. Rohit Sharma has got it 3 times, as I mentioned. He's also on top of the pile. If you take a look at the highest score ever scored in a one-day game at 260. But I'll spend some time talking about this youngster because a lot of people would be interested. Just a short while ago, he was, there was a controversy surrounding him. He was included in the T20 team versus Sri Lanka just a couple of weeks ago, and many said that, listen, Ishan Kishan has just got you a double hundred, and how is it that you don't go with Ishan in the 11 and you bring someone like a Shubman Gill? But clearly the team management, that is Rohit Sharma, the captain, that is Rahul Dravid, the coach, saw a lot of potential in Shubman Gill. I'll tell you what, ever since he played that under-19 World Cup, he was a standout player in 2018 when he played that under-19 World Cup. There were talks, no less than Rahul Dravid had actually picked him as a superstar. Technically correct. If you spoke to anyone around the country about 3 years ago and asked him, pick one player that you think is the future of Indian cricket, I'm guessing 9 out of 10 cricket experts would have picked Shubman Gill, and he's now living up to that billing that everyone was associating Shubman Gill with. Outstanding knock today. He started off on a slow note. In fact, I'll tell you, once he got to 100, we had a few people chatting on the sports desk, and many felt that, listen, could he be another guy who reaches at 200? And the common consensus was no. He's a very proper player. He plays conventional cricket. He's not going to be playing like Virendra Sehwag or a Rohit Sharma that suddenly from that 100 he's going to reach 200. Guess what? He's defied all of that. He did play aggressive. In fact, reaching that double 100 with 3 back-to-back sixes of someone no less than Lockie Ferguson, one of the fastest bowlers that you have in the world. So, it's that strong lineage of Indian batsmen, the likes of Sachin, as I mentioned, Rohit Sharma, Virendra Sehwag, the likes that were known to reach big landmarks, hitting sixes. Shubman Gill is following on those footsteps and one to look out for in the future. Outstanding inning.
And I was just reading, Nikhil, that he's also the fastest Indian to complete 1,000 one-day runs, alongside this double ton. So incredible form for Shubman.
But that's right. In fact, Shiv, the last game that he played for India, he also got 100. That was the one ODI that he played versus Sri Lanka, but that got a bit overshadowed. Guess why? Because there was a certain Virat Kohli who also got 100 in that game. So we celebrated that 100 of Virat Kohli. He got to his 74th, and that was a reason enough to celebrate India's victory. But remember, at the time, Shubman also got 100. So we are talking about 300s for for Virat Kohli recently. Shubman himself has been in a rich vein of form, getting a lot of hundreds for the team. And remember, he's now one of those rare players who's part of all formats. I mean, I can count on my fingertips players that are playing all formats at the moment, and Shubman is just one of them. That's because someone like a Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, they haven't been playing the T20 matches that we saw some time ago. So there's effectively Shreyas Iyer and Shubman Gill, two players that are part of all three formats for the Indian team, and now Ishan Kishan has also got a chance in the Test team. So three youngsters that are also part of the T20 team, one-day team, Test team. And what does that tell you? That tells you that he's a man for all season. As I mentioned, that conventional cricket is what he plays, technically very correct, very pleasing to the eye when he plays. And when he came along, many said that, listen, he'll be that Test legend, or at best he'll play a good one-day cricket. He's part of your T20 team consistently. So playing all three formats in the style that he plays, absolutely incredible talent that India has got now.
Explain that a little bit, Nikhil. A man for all seasons. Absolute pleasure to watch. Conventional player. Why are you calling him the man for all seasons? Explain that.
That's because, firstly, Shiv, as I said, that he is now part of all three formats of the Indian team. And why that is rare? Which are the first names that come to your mind when I talk about Indian cricket stars? There is Virat Kohli, there is Rohit Sharma, there is Cheteshwar Pujara. These are really, really big names in Indian cricket. Hardik Pandya, Surya Kumar Yadav. I think if I was to ask you to list top 5 cricketers, maybe these are the 5 names that you would pick. But guess what? Out of these 5 names, none of them are going to be part of all formats. Surya Kumar Yadav has now been drafted into the Test team, but still not part of all 3 formats. So there are only about 3 or 4, a handful of players that does not include a Virat Kohli, that does not include a Rohit Sharma or a Hardik Pandya, that are playing for India in all 3 formats. That is Test cricket, that is ODI cricket, and that is T20 cricket. Shubman Gill is one of those players that the team management thinks is fit enough to play all 3 formats. And as I mentioned, briefly I was talking about it earlier, Shiv. What's really interesting about Shubman Gill is that even for Test cricket, he has someone like a KL Rahul, another established performer, to fight with for a spot in the playing 11. You look at one-day cricket, he had to fight with someone like an Ishan Kishan who just got a double 100. He had to fight against him to get a spot in the playing 11. In Shikhar Dhawan, another name who is consistently playing as an opener in ODI cricket, the Indian team management looked beyond Shikhar Dhawan, who's also been in very good form, and went with someone like Shubman Gill. There was a lot of criticism at that time, and people said that, listen, you've got a proven performer in Shikhar Dhawan who's done really well in top international tournaments. He's still very fit. He can still serve the Indian team a lot. This year is the World Cup year, so why not persist with someone as experienced as Shikhar Dhawan? But probably the management thought that, no, we want to invest in this youngster. So a lot of eyebrows were raised when they went with someone like a Shubman Gill ahead of a Shikhar Dhawan and Ishan Kishan. And guess what he's done? 2 matches now, 2 back-to-back hundreds for Shubman Gill. One of them happens to be a double 100. That's why I say that he's a man for all season, and I think he is a man to look out for. Probably the next big superstar of Indian cricket.
That's incredible, and I want to ask you precisely about that, Nikhil. Man for all season, seasons consistent in all formats of the game. What is Shubman's future looking like? I know it's early hours left right now. There's this electricity right now because of this double 100. But what's that future looking like? The next big superstar, you're saying?
Well, that's right. In fact, I'm going to stick my neck out and say not just the next big superstar. You'd be looking at him as the next probably Indian captain. And I know it's too early to say that, but because he's playing all 3 formats, because if you look at the way he's carried on in his cricket, you know that he's going to play cricket for very long. And now that you are on the cusp of maybe having a transition in Indian cricket, you know that the likes of Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli are not going to be around for very long. You tried someone like a KL Rahul to captain. That didn't go according to plan. Rishabh Pant was the other one that you were looking as for captain. He met with an unfortunate accident. So we were just discussing this morning that who could be that guy that you really invest in when it comes to India's captaincy in the future. And I think you don't need to look beyond someone like a Shubman Gill, because he's a top order all-rounder batsman. He's playing all formats, and so he could be someone not just as a regular member of the team, but somebody who could even lead the Indian team in the future. So that's one thing that you really need to look at. Again, as I said, because he plays a lot of conventional cricket, his batting is not quite erratic. He's not always experimenting. That also tells you that maybe it's a bit easy on his body. And the one issue that we've had with a lot of Indian players right now has been injury. So with someone like Shubman, he may be able to continue with his international cricket for a long time. And let's not forget, we keep forgetting, he's already tasted a lot of success. He was part of the Gujarat Titans that are the current IPL champions, which is a T20 format. Remember, I told you he's pretty good in Test cricket. He's very good in ODI, as his double 100 proves. That's a T20 format where a lot of critics thought that maybe he's not suited to be part of that T20 setup. He's part of the current IPL champions and was consistently opening for them. So he's got all it takes. I know that it's too early to make those comparisons, but who are the players? Very few players that have been able to perform at this consistent level in all format. Sachin Tendulkar comes to your mind. Probably that's why he was great, because he could mold his game when it came to Test cricket, play those gritty Test knocks. He could mold his game and play aggressive cricket when he played ODI cricket. You said the same about Virat Kohli. He could play those long Test innings and then could play those cameos in white ball cricket. And if I was to think of another name who is actually doing it in this short span, it is probably Shubman Gill.
It's incredible. The future superstar at this point of time, Shubman Gill, stylish right-hander, incredible innings. He's had a fabulous season. The Sri Lanka series just now, and now the series against New Zealand, making him easily one of the most impressive cricketers at this point of time. Shubman Gill is all of 23 years old. He's got a long career ahead of him, and he is, as Nikhil just said, easily touted to be the next big superstar of Indian cricket. He's the fifth Indian. We made an error. We said fourth. It's the fifth Indian, as Nikhil has corrected us, to hit a double ton in a one-day international. He's done this in a match against New Zealand in Hyderabad. And those are images of Shubman Gill after hitting that double ton. It is possible that this puts him in a position to become, to take the opener's spot in the Indian team, in the Rohit Sharma-led team. But we'll have to see where things land right now. History has been created. Just imagine that in the history of Indian cricket, the fifth Indian to actually do this. We'll come back to this in just a bit to get you much more. On the back of very serious allegations leveled by Olympian wrestlers in the country who are sitting on the road in protest. Lots of commotion at the press conference venue where the Wrestling Federation of India has decided to respond and put forward its version of events. They stand accused of abuse, sexual exploitation and death threats to wrestlers. And now the Wrestling Federation of India is going to respond. Wrestlers like Vinesh Fogart, Sakshi Malik, Bajrang Punia are sitting out on the streets, all of them Olympians, on the streets of Delhi protesting against abuse and bad treatment by the Wrestling Federation of India. And now you see this commotion with journalists at the Wrestling Federation of India office as they get set to address a press conference reflecting their side of what happened.
एक सेकंड कुछ पीछे बैठ जाओ कुछ खड़े हो जाओ चलो अरे कर ले यार आपका माइक आ गया ना हमारा थोड़ने से अरे किसी का माइक लाओ चलिए अब आराम अभी जो चलिए सर एक आदमी कोई पहला पूछ चलिए मैं पूछ रहा हूं सर भूषण जी सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट लगाया सेक्सुअल हरासमेंट के रोकने का शोषण करते थे और आपने टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स के बाद विनोद फोगाट को एक पूछिए एक सवाल है एक मिनट पहले हमारी बात एक सेकंड आप बोल जो सबसे बड़ा सवाल हो पहले उसको पूछिए सुनो और एक सवाल में कई सवाल मत पूछिए हर सवाल का जवाब देंगे
सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट का विनेश फोगाट के लिए कि ब्रिजभूषण और WFI के जो हेड है उन पर सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट का उन्होंने आरोप लगाया है, तो आप सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट पे पहले जवाब दीजिए।
सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट पे दी।
देखिए, जैसे मुझे पता चला कि लखनऊ में सॉरी दिल्ली में पहलवानों ने फेडरेशन के को लेकर के अपनी समस्याओं को लेकर के धरना दिया है। आरोप क्या है ये मुझे नहीं पता था, लेकिन तब से तुरंत मैंने जो है फ्लाइट का टिकट लिया और फ्लाइट का टिकट लेकर के मैं तुरंत आ गया, क्योंकि हमारा रहना जरूरी है, इसलिए मैं आया। सबसे बड़ा जो आरोप विनेश ने लगाया है, क्या सामने कोई है? मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि सामने कोई है कि जो कह दे कि फेडरेशन ने कभी किसी खिलाड़ी का शोषण किया हो? क्या सामने नहीं होना चाहिए कोई? सामने तो होना चाहिए, कोई तो होना चाहिए सामने कि सांसद जी ने, ब्रजभूषण सिंह जी ने, फेडरेशन के जो अध्यक्ष हैं, उन्होंने फला खिलाड़ी का शोषण किया है। सामने होना चाहिए, नहीं होना चाहिए।
ब्रजभूषण जी, लेकिन उनका ये साफ साफ कहना है
ठीक
कि
है,
आप फेडरेशन के अधिकारी के साथ साथ
2 घंटा लगेगा तो 2 घंटा बैठूंगा।
नहीं बिल्कुल, एक करके आराम से पूछ रहे हैं, कोई वो नहीं
जी,
है।
जी।
ब्रजभूषण जी, लेकिन उनका ये भी कहना है कि जिस तरीके से यौन शोषण के आरोप न सिर्फ आप पर और फेडरेशन के अधिकारियों पे हैं, उनका ये कहना है कि फेडरेशन जो है वो कायदे और कानून से नहीं चल रही है, उसमें कई खामियां हैं स्पोर्ट्स कोड को लेकर, इसीलिए आपको इस्तीफा भी दे देना चाहिए, आपको पद से हटाया जाना चाहिए।
एक सवाल रखिए कोई, जैसे हमने अभी चलते चलते पढ़ा कि चीफ कोच का भी नाम लिया गया है कि वो भी पसंदीदा खिलाड़ियों का शोषण करते हैं। हमारे लिए कहा गया कि लखनऊ में कैंप इसलिए लगाया जाता है कि खिलाड़ियों को घर बुलाया जा सके। मैं जेड श्रेणी सुरक्षा प्राप्त आदमी हूं और मैं अपने घर पर स्वयं नहीं रुकता हूं। मेरा घर वहां से 120-30 किलोमीटर है, मेरा घर है लखनऊ में, लेकिन मैं यदा कदा साल में 1 बार या 2 बार रुकता हूं। और सबसे बड़ी बात यहां है, अन्यथा मत लीजिएगा, एक शेर बोलना चाहता हूं कि इसीलिए तो डगर डगर बदनाम हो गए मेरे आंसू, इसीलिए तो नगर नगर बदनाम हो गए मेरे आंसू, मैं उनका हो गया कि जिनका कोई पहरेदार नहीं था। मैं कमजोर जो राज्य हैं, जो कमजोर राज्य के खिलाड़ी हैं, मैं ये पूछना चाहता हूं कि ना आप नेशनल लड़ोगे, ना आप ओपन नेशनल लड़ोगे, ना आप ट्रायल दोगे। ट्रायल भी आप चाहते हैं कि सारे खिलाड़ियों का ट्रायल हो जाए, फिर जो खिलाड़ी उसमें जीतता हो उससे आपका अकेले ट्रायल हो जाए। तो जो गार्जियन अपने बच्चों को लेकर के रात दिन मेहनत करते हैं और रात दिन उनके पीछे लगे रहते हैं, तो वो भी तो ओलंपिक के ही उम्मीद से खेल रहे हैं, वो भी तो वर्ल्ड ही खेलना चाहते हैं, वो भी तो एशिया खेलना चाहते हैं। और अगर इतनी दिक्कत थी फेडरेशन से, तो 10 साल से ये दिक्कत क्यों नहीं हुई? दिक्कत तब होती है जब फेडरेशन एक नियम बनाती है। फेडरेशन एक नियम बनाती है, दुनिया के कई देशों का हम लोगों ने अध्ययन किया, और अध्ययन करने के बाद एक नियम बना। पहले हमारे यदा कदा खिलाड़ी ओलंपिक के लिए क्वालिफाई करते थे, और ये कोटा व्यक्ति का नहीं होता है, देश का कोटा होता है। और पहले हमारे यहाँ की पॉलिसी थी कि जो खिलाड़ी सेलेक्ट होकर के आएगा वही खिलाड़ी ओलंपिक में जाएगा। इसी बात को लेकर के नरसिंह यादव और सुशील का एक प्रकरण आया था, लेकिन कोई ऐसा नियम नहीं था कि जिसको हम लोग ट्रायल करवा सकें, और इसलिए सुशील और नरसिंह का ट्रायल नहीं हो पाया, क्योंकि ऐसा नियम नहीं था। इस बार ओलंपिक के बाद हम लोगों ने महसूस किया, दुनिया के कई देशों का हम लोगों ने अध्ययन किया, और अध्ययन करने के बाद ये निकाला कि ओलंपिक में अगर कोई खिलाड़ी कोटा लेकर के आता है, तो पहले जो देश के खिलाड़ी हैं उनके बीच में एक ट्रायल होगा, फिर जो देश को जीतेगा उससे ओलंपिक के जो क्वालिफाई करके आए हैं उनके बीच में एक कुश्ती होगी। अगर ओलंपियन जिसने क्वालिफाई किया है अगर हरा देगा तो उसका कोटा पक्का माना जाएगा। अगर बाई चांस वो खिलाड़ी हार जाए, बाई चांस वो खिलाड़ी हार जाए तो उसको 15-20 दिन के बाद एक मौका और मिलेगा। यानी कि नया खिलाड़ी अगर आएगा तो उसको 2 बार जिसने कोटा लिया है उसको हराना पड़ेगा। और जो खिलाड़ी सेलेक्ट होकर के आया है एक कुश्ती केवल जीत लेगा। तो एक निर्णय तो ये हुआ, फेडरेशन का तानाशाही वाला निर्णय एक ये हुआ कि अब फेडरेशन जो है,
ये फेडरेशन तानाशाही की तरह काम कर रही है या आप
नहीं, ये जो जैसे जो आरोप है कि तानाशाही के लिए काम कर रहे हैं, इसको लेकर के सारे कोचों से बीच में मीटिंग हुई और यहां तक कि इन खिलाड़ियों को भी बताया गया था कि फेडरेशन ऐसा विचार कर रही है। और हमारा वो फैसला नहीं है, हमारे जो है एजुकेटिव बाजी का फैसला है, जिसमें जो है इनका क्या नाम है, कोचों की सहमति है।
कैसे हुआ, क्यों हुआ, किसके साथ हुआ, वो हम खुल के अपने बताने के लिए हम सर वक्त मांगा है आप लोगों ने। प्लीज बात करने के लिए कोई वक्त मांगा है गृह मंत्री से? कोई वक्त नहीं, प्लीज।
ये लिया कार्य समिति में, जैसे देखिए कोई भी नेशनल कराता, एक नेशनल कराने में कम से कम 60 लाख 70 लाख रुपए लगते हैं और गवर्नमेंट का जो हमारा सपोर्ट है वो बहुत कम है, अलग से लोगों को व्यवस्था करनी पड़ती है। हर आदमी चाहता है कि हमारे गेम में ओलंपियन हैं या जो वर्ल्ड के मेडलिस्ट हैं वो आवे, जिससे आकर्षण बढ़े। अब ये जो खिलाड़ी हैं जो आज बैठे थे, ये आने के बाद ना तो ये एक नेशनल लड़े हैं और ना ये एक ओपन नेशनल, तब से आज तक ये एक कंपटीशन भी देश के अंदर नहीं लड़े हैं। देश के अंदर इन्होंने एक भी कंपटीशन नहीं लड़ा है और तब हम लोगों ने सहमति से ये फैसला किया, जिसमें गवर्नमेंट को भी विश्वास में लिया कि आपको कैंप में आना है तो आपको नेशनल लड़ना पड़ेगा। और फिर बात हुई कि कुछ खिलाड़ी हैं जैसे कि वो नहीं, चलो इस साल नहीं लड़ पाए, कुछ ने ये कहा कि हम जान नहीं पाए, हमको पता नहीं था कि फेडरेशन ने ये नियम बना दिए। जान वो
कह रहे हैं कि आप आगे जवाब देने के लिए मैं यहाँ पर आया हूँ। जो आरोप लगाए गए उसके बारे में कोई जानकारी नहीं मेरे को
मैं एक्सेप्ट करता हूँ ये सारी चीजें, ऐसे तो कोई नहीं करने वाला है। बस यही है कि जांच होनी चाहिए और आगे हम पीएम सर और गृह मंत्री सर के पास जाएंगे और फिर अपना खुल के डिटेल्स बताएंगे और हाँ सारी चीजें। तो अभी के लिए बस इतना ही। और
अरे ठीक है भाई साहब, अरे हो चुका ना,
पूरी हो जाने दीजिए, एक बार पूरी हो जाने दो।
अरे हो चुका, प्लीज अब समझिए। नहीं ऐसे माइक लगाए रखोगे तो समय भी चाहिए ना थोड़ा सा, भी एक्स्ट्रा। अरे भाई साहब समझो आप, अरे चलो एक बार भाई पीछे हो जाओ,
जाएगा। तो आप, मैं देश सुन रहा है इस समय मुझे गौर से, तो मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि अब जैसे एक आरोप ये भी है कि पहले हरियाणा की 2 टीम लड़ती थी, अब हरियाणा की 1 टीम लड़ती है। तो देखिए हरियाणा की 2 टीम लड़ती थी, ये सत्य है, और 2 टीम हरियाणा की नहीं लड़ती थी, 2 टीम लड़ती थी। जो फर्स्ट स्थान प्राप्त करती थी उसकी भी 2 टीम लड़ती थी, जो सेकंड आती थी उसकी भी 2 टीम लड़ती थी, जो तीसरे स्थान पर रहते थे उनकी भी 2 टीम लड़ती थी। हम लोगों ने महसूस किया इससे, जैसे नागालैंड है, मिजोरम है, आसाम है, बंगाल है, जो कमजोर राज्य हैं उनके खिलाड़ियों को मेडल नहीं आ रहा है। बिहार है, झारखंड है, झारखंड को तो आ जाता है, कमजोर राज्य।
मुख्य मांग यही है कि रेसलिंग फेडरेशन को हटाया जाए और नीचे तक के जो अधिकारी हैं सबको हटा के एक नई फेडरेशन का निर्माण होना चाहिए। कि जो नीचे से गंदगी शुरू हुई है या जो नीचे से ही खराब है, सब हट के एक फ्रेश स्टार्ट होनी चाहिए कि हमारे आने वाले जो रेसलर्स हैं उनका भविष्य खराब में ना जाए।
सरकार से बात के लिए कोई बात हो पाई है?
वो हम करेंगे बात, वो हम अपने पीएम सर से और गृह मंत्री सर से बात करेंगे, उनके आगे और हमारी खुल के बात रखेंगे। और
आरोप लगाए गए हैं
जो भी है, जो बातें बताई गई हैं, जो विनेश के थ्रू बताई गई है, वो 100% सच है। और कैसे हुआ, क्यों हुआ, किसके साथ हुआ, वो हम खुल के अपने बताने के लिए हम सर वक्त मांगा है आप लोगों ने। प्लीज बात करने के लिए कोई वक्त मांगा है गृह मंत्री से? कोई वक्त नहीं, यहाँ से नहीं मांग।
इतना ही खिलाड़ी जाकर के लड़ सकता है। और मैं आपको बता देना चाहता हूं कि फर्स्ट नेशनल जब मैंने कराया तो 61% मेडल केवल हरियाणा के गए हैं, 61% मेडल। 39% में पूरा देश है, 61% में, तो ये हरियाणा का भी नुकसान नहीं हुआ। अब उनके खिलाड़ी आ गए, उनको भी हम कैंप में लेते हैं, उनको भी हम ट्रायल का मौका देते हैं। दूसरा, इन लोगों का आरोप है कि मनमानी करते हैं। हम कोई मनमानी नहीं करते हैं, हमारा दरवाजा खुला रहता है, हम सबसे बात करते हैं, इनसे भी बात करते हैं। ये भी एक हफ्ता पहले बात करके गए हैं, यही बात करके गए हैं। साक्षी मलिक बात करके गई है। विनेश फोगाट जो मेरे ऊपर आरोप लगा रही हैं, भाई साहब कॉमनवेल्थ की ट्रायल हो रही थी और ऐसी स्थिति थी, उस कैसेट को उठा करके देख लीजिए। मैंने उस लड़की से जाकर के बोला, बेटा देखो मैं देख रहा हूं कि तुम्हारा पॉइंट है, लेकिन अगर तुम बड़े खिलाड़ी हो, तुम थोड़े दिन सब्र कर लो, नहीं तो ये मेरे ऊपर आरोप लगा देगी कि मैंने जानबूझ करके हरवा दिया। एक पॉइंट से जीत करके कॉमनवेल्थ गई हैं। तो क्या वो जो लड़के, नए लड़के जो चाहे वो किसी प्रांत के हों चाहे हरियाणा के ही हों, जो गार्जियन इस दिन जिनसे किनको खिला रहे हैं, पिला रहे हैं, उनकी तैयारी करा रहे हैं, क्या उनको सबको रोक दिया जाए, केवल आपको मौका दिया जाए?
तो मतलब आपका कहना है आरोप झूठे हैं, आपका कहना आरोप झूठे हैं, मौका नहीं दिया जा रहा है, मौका नहीं दिया जा रहा है, इसीलिए ये झूठे आरोप लगाए गए। उन्होंने ये भी कहा है कि हमारी जान को खतरा है। उन्होंने
And just to remind all of our viewers who are watching this story here on India Today, those are Olympian wrestlers sitting there on the roads making those allegations. That's something to think about. Do you believe the wrestlers or do you believe the Wrestling Federation of India? We're taking a quick break. We'll have much more on the other side. Stay with India Today.
You're watching an India Today special broadcast being brought to you from the stunning ski resort of Klosters, Davos.
The 53rd World Economic Forum is back at the snow-clad slopes of Davos. The smartest minds gather to debate the world's biggest challenges: energy crisis, industry headwinds, geopolitical risks, social vulnerabilities. India Today and Business Today are at ground zero to bring you all the action. Catch top corporate tycoons, politicians and intellectuals as they discuss cooperation in a fragmented world. Watch the Davos brainstorm only on India Today and Business Today TV.
आउटफिट एक्स एक प्राइवेट टेरर ग्रुप जो किसी मकसद के लिए नहीं, बस कॉन्ट्रैक्ट पर काम करते हैं।
मैम, वी हैव अ रेड फ्लैग।
दे आर प्लानिंग अ मैसिव अटैक और उनका टारगेट है इंडिया।
एक ऐसा अटैक जो हिंदुस्तान ने कभी सोचा भी नहीं होगा। ये नेगोशिएशन नहीं, अल्टीमेटम है। एंड योर टाइम स्टार्ट्स now.
Fasten your seatbelts as the countdown to SRK's most awaited film has begun.
तो अब पठान के बनवास का टाइम खत्म हुआ।
पार्टी पठान के घर पे रखोगे तो मेहमाननवाजी के लिए पठान तो आया। और पटाखे भी लाएगा।
That's right. Pathaan is all set to hit cinemas on January 25th, and while fans are eagerly waiting for their superstar to return to the silver screen after a gap of 5 years, the makers are leaving no stone unturned to make it even more special for Shah Rukh Khan.
Pathaan, the hunter, hunted.
Days after releasing the trailer, Team Pathaan flew down to Dubai and it was displayed on the iconic skyscraper Burj Khalifa in presence of Shah Rukh Khan, who also did his signature open arm pose for the fans gathered for the event. What's more, the actor was even seen dancing to the tunes of the Arabic version of film's title track Jhume Jo Pathaan, and visuals from the night are taking the internet by storm.
हिंदुस्तान के 21 सबसे अमीर लोगों के पास उतना ही धन है जितना 70 करोड़ हिंदुस्तानियों के पास है, पहला आंकड़ा। और दूसरा आंकड़ा, हिंदुस्तान के सबसे अमीर 1% के पास हिंदुस्तान का 40% धन है।
Rahul Gandhi raises the pitch on inequality. Citing a report by NGO Oxfam India that claims inequality is rising in the country, the Congress leader claimed his Bharat Jodo Yatra is also to ensure economic justice. In an interaction with the media on Tuesday, he cited the report multiple times to claim the Narendra Modi government has pushed thousands of people to poverty.
हमारी जब सरकार थी, हमने रिकॉर्ड लोगों को, इस देश में रिकॉर्ड लोगों को गरीबी से निकाला था। 20 करोड़ लोगों को हमने गरीबी से निकाला था, यूपीए की सरकार। उन लोगों को नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने वापस गरीबी में डाल दिया है।
The BJP rubbished Rahul Gandhi's charges, pointing towards various welfare schemes launched by the Modi government aimed at elevating poverty.
वो आंकड़ों को भूल जाते हैं। जब 22 करोड़ लोगों के खाते में डायरेक्ट पैसा जाता है, वो तो जब जीरो बैलेंस पे अकाउंट खुल रहे थे तब भी आपत्ति कर रहे थे, लेकिन वही आज लाभ का कारण बना कि पेंडेमिक के टाइम में अगर हमको किसी को सीधे पैसा देना था तो वो सीधे पैसा जाता है। तो भारत सरकार जो काम कर रही है वो वास्तविक रूप में गरीब कल्याण के लिए काम कर रही है। उनका स्टेटमेंट गलत है और वो इन विषयों को गलत उठाते हैं।
The Oxfam report cited by Rahul Gandhi claims top 1% in India owned more than 40.5% of total wealth in 2021, while the bottom 50% of the population or 70 crore people have around 3% of the total wealth. The report says that since the pandemic began in November 2022, the wealth of billionaires in India surged by 121% or 3,608 crore rupees per day. Meanwhile, the report claims the number of hungry Indians has increased from 19 crore to 35 crores. The Oxfam report, however, contradicts an IMF paper released last year. The study, authored by Surjit Bhalla, Karan Bhasin and Arvind Virmani, had said that extreme poverty was kept below 1% during the pandemic by the Modi government through its free ration scheme. Bureau Report, India Today.
And the political fight for 2024 has already begun. 400 days out, the big deja vu over opposition unity has raised its head once again. Watch this special report on how things stand 400 days before the big fight for 2024. Can all the opposition parties unite against Modi, or will they fail again?
400 days for polls, time to hit top gear. The words used by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to kickstart the massive BJP poll machinery and make it battle ready for 2024. While Modi had sounded the bugle by a mega roadshow in Delhi, the opposition, struggling to put up a united front, is rushing to put its house in order. But the elusive opposition unity is far from becoming a reality. The discord became evident when West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, known for her discomfort with the Congress, fired a massive salvo.
In my life from studenthood, I fought like anything with the leftist earlier when I was in Congress. But Congress did not give me the protection. The sisters and brothers, you cannot imagine how I have been tortured and how the atrocious, terrible, the political situation I faced. Glory of Meghalaya!
Mamata's attacks come at a time while the opposition is groping for unity. While Rahul Gandhi is on his Bharat Jodo Yatra, Telangana Chief Minister KCR tried yet again to form a joint front. Hosting Delhi Chief Minister Kejriwal, Punjab CM Bhagwant Mann, Kerala CM Pinarayi Vijayan and SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav for a joint rally at Khammam. While KCR is keen on a national level role, fancying his chance as a Modi challenger. His bid for an alternate front is hobbled by absence of Congress-led UPA by his side. Even TMC, DMK, Uddhav Sena were a no-show at KCR rally. To make matters worse, the left is a direct contender of Congress in states like Kerala.
All ethics and norms of democracy are being violated. Governments that have come to power in the states by winning a majority in the assembly elections are being toppled through horse trading. Such unethical efforts to form governments in the states weaken the very foundations of our democracy.
अभी कल ही भारतीय जनता पार्टी की मीटिंग खत्म हुई है और उन्होंने कहा कि 400 दिन बाकी हैं। हमें तो लगता था कि ये सरकार तो वो है जो दावा करती थी कि हटेगी नहीं। अब तो वो स्वयं स्वीकार कर रही है कि अब 400 दिन हैं।
तमिलनाडु का गवर्नर तमिलनाडु की सरकार को तंग कर रहा है। तेलंगाना का गवर्नर राव साहब को तंग कर रहा है। दिल्ली का गवर्नर मेरे को तंग कर रहा है। पंजाब का गवर्नर मान साहब को तंग कर रहा है। ये गवर्नर तंग नहीं कर रहे, मोदी साहब तंग कर रहे हैं.
With too many prime ministerial aspirants and no one to match Modi's magic, will Mission 2024 be an uphill task for the fragmented opposition? Bureau Report, India Today.
Give us your sense of what's happening inside China.
Great to be here with you, Rahul. You know, a lot of people here from different parts of the world have been concerned about China. And of course, being our close neighbors, we're watching how the situation unravels. India, because of its excellent vaccine coverage and the herd immunity, because we allowed infections to spread like other countries and didn't have a zero COVID policy after the initial lockdowns, India, along with other countries, are in a far better situation. Do I fear, this sort of thing happening in India again, like what's happening in China? I don't think so, because as I mentioned, our vaccine has been very effective and the coverage has been very effective. China sadly has not had both of those situations pan out, and we just pray and hope that they solve their issue. In fact, I was talking to some people to try and offer the Western vaccines and Indian vaccines to them as boosters, so they can control their hospitalizations and come out of even spreading the infection.
Are the Chinese interested in your vaccine?
I've requested to them to put political issues aside and just look at the bigger picture, because for the world it's important that China comes back also. And we just wish them the best in a speedy recovery, because if you look at supply chain disruptions, investments, uncertainty, people are still a little uncertain to make investments in this part of the world because of what's happening there. But of course, given that you've seen the response here, India is definitely by far the most reliable and chosen destination for investors, and given the choice, of course, India stands far ahead.
I started by asking Adar about what's happening in China, because what's happening in China from a health emergency perspective also is potentially one of the biggest opportunities for India as global companies realign their supply chains. To what extent do you think at this moment, in the way things are, is India being able to benefit from the idea that companies need to look beyond China in this China plus one strategy of theirs?
I think that's playing out quite favorably for India, because the aftershocks of what just happened in China, but also what's happened in Ukraine and Russia, has made organizations, global companies look at de-risking supply chains. It's no longer about cost optimization, but about resilience, managing risks, etc. So when they're looking at another place beyond China, obviously there are other contenders. But India is special because India is not just a source, it can also be a market. And with the PLI schemes and the government trying to do more to attract investments, there is certainly a strong case for investments to come into India, which you've seen in electronics and traditionally areas where we've not seen so much of investments. So I think it's a good time for India.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
By QO, European Bath Lounges. Let time wait.
Olympic heroes forced to hit the streets.
जो कोचेज होते हैं वो खुद लड़कियों का शोषण करते हैं, महिला कोचों के साथ में बुरा बर्ताव करते हैं।
Explosive sexual harassment charges. Khelo India spirit crushed.
बात तो हमारे पास धमकी आती है छोटी-छोटी चीजों के लिए कि आपको जान से मरवा देंगे। जान से बढ़ के तो कुछ नहीं देता।
Wrestlers claim large-scale graft. Wrestling Federation mum on charges.
सेक्सुअल हैरेसमेंट का भी सर उन्होंने एलिगेशन लगवाया कोच के ऊपर सर, क्या आप उनकी बात सुनेंगे? अनुराग सर, वन रिएक्शन सर।
Sports Minister evades question. They brought glory. Now they fear for life. Our top focus on 6 p.m.
Good evening. You're watching 6 p.m. Prime here on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal, and this evening we're kicking off a campaign to fight for our Olympic heroes, for our wrestling heroes who are, as we speak, sitting on a protest at Jantar Mantar in the national capital. They have spoken in great detail about the kind of grave injustice they face.